Hi, I'm Linz. Welcome to Becoming Everwell, a channel where we talk about the ongoing journey of becoming. Today's life learning lesson for Midlife You is about lessons I've learned from being an Airbnb host.
I make sense of life by writing about real everyday stuff that makes us who we are. Some of these snapshots are fun, some are more serious. Maybe they'll open up something in you too. Let's grow.
It's bizarre for me to inhabit the role of Airbnb host, which happens to be one of my jobs. The transactional back and forth between host and guest, who will ultimately rate each other for public consumption, is an uncomfortable departure from my modus operandi in relationships. My preference always has been to go deep with people from the get-go, even at cocktail parties in grocery stores where light conversations are expected and probably appreciated. When two of us are paused and in each other's attention, I usually attempt to push past the superficialities and get to the heart of what's real. I want to hear their story. I want to hear them describe their highlights and their ho-hums. I want to hear what makes them tick and thrive and fall to pieces. I want to hear the messy, circumstantial truths of their life. I want to imagine their journey. I'm sure some acquaintances avoid me in public places for this reason, and I'm cool with that. For me, getting personal feels much safer than floating in benign pleasantries, because when vulnerabilities are shared, a respect for the other is naturally birthed. And respect, in my book, is the ideal starting point in any relationship. But by design, the relationship between an Airbnb host and guest is not one of depth. In fact, the Airbnb interface is keen to protect users' privacy, so there's a built-in veil of anonymity. And although I attempt to personalize myself and the home in my initial communications with each guest, I'm pretty sure that most renters don't care about me in the slightest. And that might be why such a range of unfavorable behaviors have come my way. One renter stole a queen-size air mattress. Another threw a 2-day bender. Another gave me a weak review because New Hampshire's July humidity bothered them. Many leave junk they don't want, masked as things that future renters might enjoy. But nothing beats the renter who called me at 1 a.m., belligerent, and bawled me out because, according to her, my Airbnb listing was a scam and she'd already reported me. She claimed that she'd arrived at the residence late, couldn't find the key, and then a very unkind someone opened the door and forced her away. "Someone's living there and I'm out here all on my own with nowhere to go," she screamed at me. Turns out, the renter had shown up at the wrong address. I mean, can you even imagine being that unsuspecting homeowner? Some context is that my husband and I owned a lakeside condo in New Hampshire that's been in my family for 30 years. We rented out to afford it. It's an old school gem of a woodsy retreat with its cozy charm, LL Bean vibe, and its abundance of trout, duck, and moose-themed accent items. There's no AC, and many fixtures are original to its 1970s build, but we've got a canoe and kayaks, lake floats, and fishing rods. It's not cabin chic, but it's for sure cabin sweet, and we love it. We quarantined there during the pandemic, and it's our preferred family vacation spot. It's a perfect find for certain renters as it arouses a welcomed, slowed down kind of a nostalgia for particular Gen Xers and boomers with fond memories of simpler times. And naturally, it's not the right spot for others, especially those who require AC. But I have no control over who rents our place. I created a transparent listing, and I simply manage the renters who choose to experience this home of ours. My role as host captivates me because I'm endlessly fascinated by human nature and how people communicate. And truth is, from our guests, I've learned 2 valuable lessons. First, I learned to communicate directly even when it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it takes courage to say the true thing, but it's just one hard conversation en route to a cleaner outcome for all. Our most recent renter, for instance, seemed to be a great communicator initially. They called me and ably detailed the areas of improvement that they'd noticed: a loose brick on the hearth, an unreliable ice maker, a sliding door that needed WD-40, a fan that needed better dusting. They seemed like lovely people, and as a remote rental host, I appreciated their detailed feedback and thanked them for informing me. But then, as their stay wound down, I noticed their unresponsiveness when I connected about departure details. Radio silence. When we got to the condo, soon after their checkout, to handle their maintenance concerns, we discovered that our 8x10 carpet was missing. Alongside a $50 bill, they'd left a handwritten note to our cleaners saying that they'd spilled on our, quote, gross rug, so they'd thrown it away. They disposed of our property without first communicating with me? And also, what's the reasoning behind the $50 bill? Was it meant to pay for a percentage of the rug, or was it meant as a tip for the cleaners? Now, I get that spills happen. I also get that rugs have lifespans. But they had my number, and we'd established an open line of communication. I don't understand why they didn't inform me of the spill snafu directly. I messaged the renter to ask what they'd like me to do with the many personal items that they'd left behind, and she got back to me straight away. But when I went on to ask if the $50 was meant to tip the cleaners, I didn't hear back. Rather than communicating directly, she chose to disappear into the discomfort, probably because my question may have felt like a trap that would inevitably lead to the disgraced rug. Spoiler alert, it was intended to be a trap. The consequences here obviously aren't grave. I'm not even going to pursue reimbursement for the rug. Experience has taught me that the effort to communicate our way through it won't be worth it. But they certainly got a subpar Airbnb review from this host. On the flip side, we've had other renters who have damaged items and have taken full responsibility. This one stands out. She wrote me this. I'll quote it. My son accidentally dropped his heavy backpack on your coffee table and the glass top shattered. We've cleaned it up and vacuumed every last shard. We're so sorry for this inconvenience. Please let me know the cost to replace the glass and I will reimburse you via Venmo. And with that, my initial irritation that surfaced when I read glass shattered shifted to gratitude that they'd been forthcoming with the facts and proactive in handling the mess to the best of their ability. Accidents happen. That's life. I get it. Most of us get it. Ultimately, we move through the repair swiftly and respectfully. Easy peasy. And I gave them a 5-star review for how they handled the unfortunate situation. Here's the thing. In our personal relationships, we might be fairly equipped to interpret each other's behaviors. Our intimate knowing of our people enables us to offer them grace, patience, leeway, and even excuses when their communication is vague, sloppy, unclear, disheartening, inaccurate, or absent. We might understand, for instance, that he seems gruff but is actually kind-hearted, or that she seems cold but is actually just shy, or that he's got a temper but he's actually harmless. However, with unfamiliar folks, there's no common ground of knowing who they really are or what they probably intend. When we're linked superficially to another, any vague, sloppy, unclear, disheartening, inaccurate, or absent communication is typically taken at face value. And that gets tricky when navigating a superficial connection because we, as the flawed humans that we are, too often lack compassion for the other's whole personhood and instinctively judge them in sweeping ways based off of snippets of their communication. And then emotions can get triggered and assumptions can be made, and a whole entangled web of messy, belabored communication ensues. Net net, direct communication for the win. The second lesson I've learned is to choose to make it personal, even in transactional situations. We're all human. We all have stories and loved ones and circumstances. We all have tough days and better days and awesome days. We all have best versions of ourselves and worst versions of ourselves. Our shared humanity is our common ground. When we take the risk to be vulnerable and expose glimmers of our humanity, chances are high that in response, we will be better understood and treated with more respect. Likewise, by leading with vulnerability, chances are high that the other person will follow suit, which could lead to you having more understanding and respect for them. What I know for sure is that people will keep peopling and will keep getting in each other's ways. And yet, in the face of these inevitable human disruptions, if more of us choose to communicate directly while being mindful of our shared humanity, I'm quite sure that many a mess could be subsided. Let's keep growing. Thanks for being here today with me. Your likes, your views, your shares, and your subscribes matter so much to me, and I'm grateful. And if you would go over to my website, lindsayhurdy.com, I hope you'll check out all that I have to offer, in particular, my forever letter writing. If you go to Work with Lindsay on my site and you click on legacy work, you will see my forever letter writing website, where you can learn all about this incredible work of writing love letters and important moments to your loved ones. I help people with it, and it's become an incredible service that I love doing, and my clients are really enjoying getting help with. So check it out. Thanks again for being here. Until next time.
Be sure to like and subscribe and click that bell to get alerts for new posts. I'd be ever grateful.